one of my favorite cryptids and one of my favorite, cases that I've been working on and still actively to this day working on.
Well,
So
we have Gwen back in our Spreaker chat who says that she believes that she has seen a dogman in
ooh,
Ohio. So there's an eyewitness. But,
yeah,
I find it interesting that a small southern church community has all of these experiences to share.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly. And
that's so bizarre.
like I said, like you won't find this online. Like you can look and you'll find some sightings, and you'll find, there's the Alabama White Thing group on Facebook where a lot of people have came forward and said, I've had experiences with this or something like this. And now the thing that's got me is all the different places that people see these things. Now, one project I'm working on currently, and this probably won't be on my YouTube. It's something I'm putting a little more time and work into. It might turn into another documentary. Is investigating up in Lawrence County, a place called Chickenfoot. And with Chickenfoot, there's actual newspaper, documentations about people telling about the white thing and the ghost stories on Chickenfoot Mountain. So it's like, the more I'm digging, I'm finding, newspaper articles and things like that, elders and people who, just everyday people who are believing these things, are terrified. The people around that area have been calling me up saying, they've been hearing these strange sounds every night, like babies crying and things like that. Which is another thing that John Keel talks about. The babies crying is kind of something that accompanies a lot of strange phenomena for some reason. And some people, I actually just watched, it's called Hellier. It's a new documentary series about these Kentucky goblins, and they had talked about in there how maybe that, if these were some type of elemental or something like that, or some type of fae, that they might have used that baby crying to like lure people in, because if you hear a baby crying, you're going to want to go make sure that the baby's okay.
Exactly.
Kind of like instinct. So I don't know if that's what's going on or what, but south of Lawrence County, or is where Bankhead Forest is, and like I said, there's all kinds of stories in there about Bigfoot and White Thing. And up in Florence, I had a sighting near this abandoned house, and the weird thing about that one was it was kind of near a neighborhood and everything. Like there was just out, just places where you wouldn't think something this big or that would be able to hide. So that's when you start having to wonder if it is something from another dimension or something that comes through. It's not just here all the time, because you'll have stories about footprints. You'll be following tracks and then it'll just stop and it'll just be gone. Like there'll be no more tracks. Or you'll find just one track in the mud and nothing else, and strange things like that. So it's hard to say, that's why all that I'm going to keep doing is continuing to try to capture footage of one of these things. Clear footage too is what I want.
Well, I understand that's as rare as hound's teeth, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I would love to see things. You had brought up Jonathan Odom earlier, and I think probably the clearest Bigfoot footage that I've seen in some time was from him. And It took me by surprise. And there's also someone else out there in that part of the world who I do not know. And somehow I ran across a video. I don't know if I was tagged in it because they just wanted to let me know they were out there or what the deal was, but it was a guy who was out in the field, and he was not far from a tree line. And on the other side of the fence and the tree line were several creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not... Do you know who I'm talking about?
I'm not sure. He
But
lives out in
I'll
that
see if I
same...
can find that and I'll send it to you. But it took me by surprise because nobody ever sends me stuff like that,
Yeah.
And usually it's ufology or, spirits. But it was fascinating. I sat there and watched until he, left and was closing that video down. And then I went back and watched it again. But I was so busy watching them that I never saw the name that was attached to that. And that being said, we're at break. Good heavens. But we will be back. And thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoy these. And we'll catch you on the flip side in 3.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Son of a...
Hey, son.
Mother...
Son, what are you doing?
Hey, Mom. I'm getting ready to listen to Periscope Uncensored.
By expanding your vocabulary.
Well, it is uncensored.
Son, the uncensored part of Periscope Uncensored is Jax and I getting down to brass tacks with all aspects of the paranormal. There's no fluff on our show.
So, no off-color commentary?
I didn't say that.
Awesome! What?
Son?
I just hit my head.
Oh boy, I'll go get you an ice pack. Catch Periscope Uncensored Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour. And we are back, and we were in the middle of this fantastic discussion. I have just been having a great time. I'm going to get you the name of the person who sent me that video. I can't get to that link right now. But, I had always thought that Bigfoot lived in family units. And I know that in that video it looked like there were 2 juveniles. But it was just really, really interesting. So.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would have been walking calmly across a pasture with all these people sitting there looking at me.
Yeah, that's interesting. As far as the family units go, even with the white things, this one lady who lives up in Lawrence County has told me stories that she's seen the little ones, and the way that she describes the white things is similar to the way that people say, like, they kind of look like some weird kangaroo type creature, and that they have these like beady red eyes, and that she's seen the little ones, and that they have like long white hair that kind of covers up like most of their face and everything, but you can see these red eyes. And then I've heard lots of stories about people running into juveniles, or what you would assume is a juvenile, just a smaller, 4 or 5 feet tall Bigfoot, and that with several of the people that told me stories, these smaller Bigfoots were like super surprised to be seen, and they would like cover up their face with their hands. They had like human like hands, some things that I've experienced that I could say made me think that there was more than one around me would be things like we would hear one night. Jonathan Odom was with me this night. We had hiked out and we actually heard this wood knock come from across the creek. And to us, we thought maybe it was trying to warn the others that we were coming. And when we were leaving that night, we heard the same knock from the same exact spot, as if it was saying they're leaving now or something. It's like really strange. So I think that they do have little, clans or packs, and they kind of have, what some people refer to as like a sentry or something out watching that can warn the others if someone's coming. In one of my favorite research areas, which is actually in Bessemer, Alabama, in Jefferson County, is where I've actually heard what they call the samurai chatter, which is like this vocalization that sounds similar to, like, they call it that because it sounds like two like samurais talking to each other, like this really guttural. It sounds not English. It's some type of, sounds like language. And I actually heard this with my own ears one night.
Wow.
And some people were on a live stream I was doing, and they could hear it too. And they said it sounded kind of like some type of native language. And
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, and I could actually hear there was like these weird high pitched sounds and these really low sounds, and it sounded like multiple things kind of like conversing. And I've heard it out there only twice now. The second time my camera didn't even pick it up. It was just far away enough to where I could hear it, but my camera wouldn't, like, you could barely hear anything. So that's another one of my goals, is trying to capture that clear audio, with my Tascam or something. Maybe I'll try to get a parabolic mic too to try to capture what I'm hearing, because when I heard it was blowing me away. Because, like you said, the original recordings of that was out in California, in the Sierra Mountains, where most people, when you think of Bigfoot, you think of the Pacific Northwest.
Well, Forrest did anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, when I was hearing this, it was just blowing me away. And that's another thing too. When you think about Alabama, I looked into it a little bit. Supposedly it's about 70% coverage, the forest. So, that's a lot of places for things to be and things to hide. What I don't understand is how they seem to be in places where I would never expect to have an encounter, such as near Bessemer, which is near a city. I'm in this place that has several hundred acres, but it's so close to the city and things like that, I would never have expected it. And then I started hearing about other sightings in that area, things like dealing with a Native American connection, like where they've confiscated, or not confiscated, I guess excavated like mounds and things like that. Sightings around things like that. Over near like Alabama Adventure, where that park is, I've heard rumors that there's like this supposed native temple that's out there that people have seen, that's out in the woods still. I haven't found that, but people had sightings out there and said that there was Bigfoot out there. And what I have found is a lot of the native trail marker trees, which is like the trees that have been bent and they were once tied with some type of like cordage. And so in the middle, it'll be like a tree going straight up, and then it's like bent in the middle and goes straight across, and then it goes straight up the other side. You've probably seen them as well. But so, I don't know, maybe there is some type of connection to that as well. I know that the natives had different legends about, similar things to Sasquatch. Some of them were more like ogre type creatures. Like the Choctaw had the Champe, which is like the way that they describe it is just like this large, like man-eating, like ogre type creature that lived in caves.
Well, that would probably be giants.
Well, yeah, that too. You start getting into the giants.